The protest song From Little Things Big Things Grow, written in 1993 by Paul Kelly, is based on the story of Gurindji people's struggle for equality and land right in the 1960s and 70s. The conflict began in 1914 when the creation of British food production, the Vassity brothers who used the unpaid indigenous labor to increase the station's size and capacity.
The working conditions for indigenous people were extremely poor. They rarely get any wages, beaten, or they were killed. The isolation of the station allowed this to continue for 50 years, even if there were changes made in the states. Over the past few years, visiting anthropologists and union officials, along with indigenous people who seek social and economical changes, were inspired to stand up to the Vesties.
On the 23rd of August 1966, the Wave Hill workers and their families, led by the Gurindji spokesman Vincent Langary, walked off their station to begin their strike. The main reason being is because the Gurindji people were desperate for the lands from the Vesties because they used to own the lands for thousands of years. About 200 protesters created a settlement in Wati Creek where the strike continued for another 8 years. During this time, Vincent Langary looked around Australia with the help of several workers' unions to raise awareness of the issues with the Gurindji people were going through, to ask the politicians to how rights to indigenous people.
In 1975, the Whitlam government finally decided to deal with the Vesties to return part of their land to the rightful people who owned it, the Gurindji Pride. On the 16th August 1975, Prime Minister Whitlam forwarded the deeds to Vincent Lingiari and poured sand into his hands to symbolize the return of the country. The Gurindji campaign was an important influence on passing of the Aboriginal Land Rights Act in 1976. Today, Paul Kelly and Kev Karbati's song is known across the nation, even though a few people know the story of Gurindji strikers it tells them.
The poem From Little Things Big Things Grow by Paul Kelly includes rhyme as a crucial poetic device. Rhyme is one of the key ways in which the poem informs verse, sense of structure, and meaning. The rhyming utilized by the poem keeps the poem in harmony and helps the reader reflect on the text more easily. Similarly, the rhyme used forms musical rhythm in stanzas, creating interest while also engaging the audience. A visible example of rhyme is Gurindji were worked for nothing but rations, where once they had gathered the wealth of the land, daily the pressure got tighter and tighter. Gurindji decided they must take a stand.
This example clearly demonstrates how, by hearing patterns of rhyming words, readers may feel involved and interested. The stanza also indirectly shows how rhyme may be used to accentuate key words and ideas. In this line, the two rhyming words stand and land are very significant as they inform the reader of key information, what had been taken from the Gurindji people and what they did to get it back. Just like this particular example, all forms of rhyme used in the text help to add interest and to create an understanding of the content for all readers in an easier and more entertaining way.
Another poetic device from Little Things Big Things Grow is imagery. The imagery used in the text creates a visual representation of the events taking place, developing a clear understanding of the context in the minds of the potential readers. The imagery also allows the readers to see, taste, hear, and smell and feel the characters, setting, and actions through their own mind's eye. The quote, 8 years went by, 8 long years of waiting, till one day a tall stranger appeared in the land and came with lawyers, and he came with great ceremony, and through Vincent's fingers poured a handful of sand, is an obvious example of imagery.
In this stanza, a new character that perhaps may have the role in bringing the Gurindji people justice is introduced. This example of imagery may create a sense of content and joy in all readers, as it is indirectly telling them that the Gurindji people would finally be earning their land rights. Just like this particular example, all forms of imagery that are used in the text help the audience create a visual image and feel certain emotions and feelings.